Welcome to People, Power, and Politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's People, Power, and Politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.
A very warm welcome to everyone. We are joined by a very special guest, Tom Suozzi, who represents New York City, 3rd District. Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you, sir.
Ms. Pearl, thanks so much for having me on. Hello to all my friends.
Good to have you. So, Congressman Suozzi, Kamala Harris is the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in the November 2024 elections. What specific qualities or policies of Vice President Harris do you believe make her the best candidate for the presidency?
Well, let me first say how excited I have found all of the Democrats to be throughout the country, as well as independents, that there's an energy that I haven't seen in a long, long time that are so excited about Vice President Kamala Harris running for President of the United States of America. And I think that, first, her background is so impressive. She started out as a district attorney prosecuting crimes in Oakland, California. And she was really well respected as a prosecutor. She went on to get elected to the position of DA. Then she went on to become the Attorney General of the entire state of California, then the United States Senator, and then the Vice President. So she's really worked her way up, gaining tremendous experience throughout her career to qualify her to be the President of the United States of America. I think that the thing that I'm most excited as far as policy is that America's middle class has been battered over the past literally 40 years in our country. We got very, very concerned back in the, I'm 62 years old now, so I
62 years young.
Yeah, right. So we got worried that the Japanese and the German car companies were going to take over all of our manufacturing in America. And we changed in our country, and our corporations, instead of worrying about their employees, which they used to, instead of worrying about the communities they were in, which they used to, just focused on the shareholder. Now, that's been very successful. We've made an enormous amount of money in America. The Dow Jones has gone up 2,500%. The GDP has gone up 1,500% since that time, in the 1980s. But we have not shared that wealth with the workers, with the people who go to work every day. Middle class wages of people who go to work every day have gone up by less than 20%. So we've made a lot of money, but we didn't share it with the people who go to work every day. I think that Kamala Harris, much like Joe Biden, is very focused on building the economy from the bottom up and from the middle out. We can't just build the economy for the wealthy people. We want to keep capitalism going. We want to keep it strong, but we have to share our success with the people who go to work every day. If you work 40 hours a week and you go to work 50 weeks a year and take 2 weeks vacation, but you only make $15 an hour, that's only $30,000 a year. You're not going to buy a house, educate your kids, pay for health insurance, and retire without being scared on $30,000 a year here in the New York area. So we've got to figure out, how do we share our success? How do we continue our success and share it with the people who go to work every day? And I think Kamala Harris stands for that.
Excellent. So how do you see VP Harris's vision and leadership aligning with your own priorities and the needs of your constituents? Are there any particular issues where you feel her presidency would make a significant impact?
Well, I'm very focused on fixing the problem at the southern border. That's a very important priority I have made now that I'm back in Congress. And I'm trying to build a bipartisan coalition. And there was a bipartisan deal to actually fix the border that was negotiated in the Senate earlier this year. And the Republicans said they would support it. The Wall Street Journal said they would support it. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce said they would support it. The Border Patrol Union said they would support it. President Biden said he would sign it into law. Even Mitch McConnell said he would support it, and that guy doesn't support anything. And we were all ready to go, And then Trump swoops in and says, don't do that deal. He went to his allies in the House and the Senate. Says, don't do that deal. I want to run on the chaos. I don't want to give Biden a victory. Well, that's the most cynical, awful type of politics.
And selfish,
and I think
too.
Say that again?
I said, and selfish as well.
Very selfish. He's not interested in the people. That's what's going to come through in this campaign. He's not interested. He's interested in Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to fix the board. I'm a Democrat. I'm a progressive. I believe we have to give a pathway for dreamers and for TPS recipients, and we have to treat people like human beings. But we also have to secure the border, because when people see those images on television and they see people coming over the border, they say, "Oh, I followed. My father was born in Italy. He came to the United States as a little boy."
Mm-hmm.
I think of the immigrant story as the American story, and it breaks my heart that the immigrant story in America is becoming a negative, not a positive. So we have to secure the border, but we also have to treat people like human beings, and we can do both. And I think that Kamala Harris stands for doing both those things. She'll stand for law and order, but she'll also stand for treating people like human beings.
Excellent. So you identify as a common sense Democrat. What is your reaction to the Harris VP pick, Governor Tim Walz? Do you think he'll appeal to moderate and independent voters?
Yes, I do. I know Tim Walz. He served in Congress my first 2 years in Congress back in 2017 and 18. He's a veteran for 20 some odd years. He ran in a very conservative rural district, so he knew how to win in a moderate district like that. He defeated a Republican incumbent. He kept the seat for 6 terms until he ran for governor. He grew up in a small town. There were literally only 400 people in his town. There were only 24 people in his entire class, and 12 of them were his relatives, his cousins. And so he understands people in different parts of our country and can speak to them. He was a football coach.
Yes.
He was a school teacher. So he's like a regular guy, and we need a little bit more regular guys and gals and less elitists. I loved when Kamala Harris talked about how she came from a middle-class family with a mom working to support the family, and he came from a middle-class farming family,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're running for president and vice president. We need to get back to that in America and get back to plain old common sense, practical solutions to problems, and not just a bunch of highfalutin elitism.
So let's look at your congressional race in November. As you prepare for the congressional race, what key issues or messages are you focusing on to differentiate yourself from your opponents and address the concerns of your voters?
Well, my number one thing is I want to fix problems. I want to solve problems. I'm not much of an ideologue. It's all my way or the highway. I want to work across party lines to solve problems. And I've said that I've got 4 priorities. Number one is I want to solve this problem at the border, and I want to treat people like human beings in the process. Number 2, I want to get the state and local tax deduction back for New Yorkers. New Yorkers were hurt worse than any other place in the country. Number 3, I want to bring money back to my district and back to New York. And number 4, I want to try and heal some of this partisan divide. I want people to start working together to serve the people. The public is looking at this hyperbole and this histrionics and the drama in Washington, D.C., and they're saying, what about me? What are you doing for me? What about, I'm being left out here. I'm concerned about the cost of living. I'm concerned about the border. I'm concerned about climate change. I'm concerned about, we just have these crazy rainstorms. And people are like, what, is this the end of the world? I mean, we have to fix the problems. Stop with the fighting and just work to fix problems. So my opponent is not focused on that. He's much more partisan, and I think that people are sick of that.
All right. Thank you so much. So how can one learn more about your candidacy?
Just go to my website, www.Suozzi for Congress. Suozzi spelled S as in Sam, Uozzi, Suozzi for Congress. And any way you can help out, we'd appreciate your help. And I know that your listeners are going to be excited that Kamala Harris has also got a Jamaican background.
Yes.
And so do I.
From via Trinidad, right?
Don't forget I lived in Trinidad for 3 months.
I have not forgotten, sir. I have not forgotten. Congressman Suozzi, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to speak with you. And please don't be a stranger. Mi casa e tu casa.
Thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
People, power, and politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's people, power, and politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.